Lucas Paqueta's initial hearing was set to be yesterday, however this has been postponed. Contradictory reports as to why. Some reports suggested Paqueta's lawyers are actually on holiday and that's the reason for the postponement. Other reports which came out over the weekend was that Paqueta's representatives requested the evidence the FA have against Lucas Paqueta for these betting allegations, and as a result of them not having the evidence ahead of the initial hearing, they wanted it postponed so they could discover the evidence and get prepared for the hearing. But regardless, whichever one is true, it has now been postponed. Now, it was unlikely that this was going to be concluded before the transfer window closed anyway. Even if it started yesterday, it was incredibly unlikely. We know how long the Ivan Toney investigation took place. Even after they charged him, it still took months for them to decide how they were going to punish him. So it was incredibly unlikely it was going to be concluded. But with the postponement now, it definitely won't be. And that means Lucas Paqueta will remain at West Ham United beyond the transfer window. Whether he's allowed to play for West Ham beyond the summer transfer window, we'll have to wait and see. So that's the latest reports regarding Paqueta. The other reports are that it's the Aston Villa game back in March that's in question, and that there was new accounts created in Brazil on Paqueta Island. I mean, if it was anywhere else, I think I'd be a bit more calm. That's the one thing that makes me a bit about all this. I still remain calm. I'll explain why in just a second. I'm trying to do the news part and then stress the next part is my opinion, in my opinion only, and it's based on what is in the public domain. But what is in public domain is bets were created on Betway, accounts were created on Betway, on Paqueta Island, large quantities of money was placed on Paqueta to be yellow carded. As a result, Paqueta was odds on to get booked before the game, which is really short odds for a player to get yellow carded. And of course, he went and picked up that yellow card. Betway have obligations to report this. It gets flagged up on their system because of what it is, because it's new accounts placing large amounts of money on Paqueta getting yellow carded. They're obliged to report it, so they've reported it. And then I guess people are then obliged to investigate it, and that's why I remain quite calm about this. So far, he's not been charged. It's not like you are guilty, we're now charging you with this, and we're going to ban you. It's just an investigation at this point, and that's why I'm remaining pretty calm. But anyway, that's what's out in the public domain. From now on, it's my opinion and my opinion only. I must stress that we've all got one. I was away on Friday when it came out. It was good news to start with, wasn't it? Paqueta 90% unlikely to leave West Ham. Get in, here we go. Because of confidential reading. Alright, hang on, that's the alarm bell. So while it was good news, Paqueta was 10% chance of leaving only. The bad news was confidential reasons is a bit of a strange one. It's not that Man City's pulled out, not that West Ham has said go away, he's not for sale. It's not that Paqueta's decided to stay at West Ham. For confidential reasons. Very quickly, we discovered why. These betting allegations came out rapidly after the news that the Man City deal was off. It was on hold and then it was off. It's now dead in the water because of the betting allegations. And there was a part of me, I'll be honest with you, and I can't be the only one that did this, that thought, now I know why we're okay to sell. I cannot be the only West Ham fan that thought, now I get it. Now I get why West Ham are happy to sell Paqueta to Manchester City. I mean, in the morning there was rumours that the reason it was off is because we demanded 85 million. They basically agreed to pay it, and then we went, actually 85 million plus Cole Palmer. And I thought, wow, that's serious cojones there by West Ham. That's one way of pissed off Man City and Lucas Paqueta. We discovered the real reasons now, the betting allegations. But there was a bit of me that thought, now I see why Sullivan was okay to sell. But get him going to the Etihad before anyone finds out about these allegations, will we? Sullivan. Anyway, I could be wrong, but that's just how I've seen it. But what also worried me regarding the Paqueta thing was the Mohamed Kudus deal. And as soon as it came out, I thought, this is why we're after Mohamed Kudus. Because I struggled to believe that we were going to spend 40 million on Kudus and have Paqueta at West Ham, because there was contradictory reports, wasn't there? So there's a lot of people saying, no, we're going for Kudus as well as Paqueta. But Fabrizio Romano was the journalist that said, actually, no, it's Kudus if they sell Paqueta. That deal heavily relies on Paqueta joining Manchester City. And I didn't believe it. Maybe it's because I didn't want to believe it. So as soon as the Paqueta news came out, I thought, oh no, please still go get Mohamed Kudus, will you? Please. And then I started thinking, well, you better go get him, because if Paqueta gets banned, we're going to need him. I still hope we go after Kudus. The only reason I can see us going after him now is if he's going to play on the right and we're going to move Bowen up front. Not what I want to see. I do not want to see Bowen as striker. But I hope we do get Kudus. There's an argument that we need to go get him in case Paqueta is found guilty and then gets a lengthy ban. But the club will know. The club will be in full facts. Well, I say full facts. The club will have a lot of evidence themselves. They will have conducted their own investigation. They will know whether Paqueta is likely to be found guilty of any wrongdoing or whether he's likely to be cleared. And if it's the latter, you can see why the club would say, no, we don't need a replacement. But should we go get Kudus? Maybe that would suggest the club are a little bit anxious regarding the investigation into Paqueta's betting allegations. Anyway, before we go any further, this video is sponsored by the One Football app. If you fancy keeping up to date with all the latest West Ham news, whether that's transfer news, injury news, transfer rumours, we've got news today. Mavropanos joining. We've also got transfer rumours. Lots of players being linked to West Ham. One or two, including our own Pablo Fornals, being linked with moves away. Unfortunately, that depends on your take on Pablo Fornals. But the best thing about the One Football app is it's completely free. And the second best thing about us promoting the One Football app is it's dead easy to download it. You can scan the QR code that's on your screen right now, or you can use the link that's in the description below. Please do give it a download and give it a try. Asks for the clubs you follow, the competitions you wish to keep up to date with. It's the handy way for a little in-depth look at quick stats regarding players' performances in the matches as well. It's got everything that you need as a football fan on that app. So give it a go. It's completely free. Don't like it, you can always uninstall it. But if you have given it a go, feel free to leave your review of One Football in the comments. For those that aren't too sure about downloading it, they can read your comments so they can get Hammers Chats subscribers authentic reviews on the One Football app. Get it downloaded. Anyway, so yes, hopefully we go and sign Mohamed Kudus. I really do. I'm getting a little bit anxious with it. I know the reports are they're only a few million apart and a deal is likely to be agreed. But I can't help but feel that this is a little bit out of the West Ham playbook now. Now the Paqueta thing's out in the open, it's like, oh well, Paqueta can't join Man City, so we don't need a replacement for him, so that's Mohamed Kudus. I know there's rumours we've agreed personal terms, and the deal's close, but we've been here before this summer with Carlos Borges. We've been here before. And then we've had, Stuyden was in Amsterdam trying to get this sorted. Sunday we know he was at the London Stadium with Mavropanos. Reportedly now he's in France. So it feels like the Kudus deal's not priority anymore. It's dropping down the pecking order in terms of priorities for Tim Stuyden. So that makes me think we're not going to go after him. I hope I'm wrong. I'd still love to see Kudus, regardless of what happens with Lucas Paqueta. In regards to Lucas Paqueta, now I must stress that this here on in, or all videos so far, but this is my opinion only. It's just based on what's out in the public domain, and I'm pretty calm about it. One thing that gave me a little bit of calmness was when the reports came out Friday that the Paqueta deal wasn't going to happen. There was also talks that, now that was accurate, that reports that it was falling through were accurate, we now know why, but within the same reports was that Paqueta's agents were confident a deal could still be done. So Paqueta's agents, knowing the allegations, were still confident that they could get him out of West Ham and get him into Manchester City. That gives me some hope. I completely understand why Man City won't touch him with a barge pole, by the way. And it's a very anxious wait for West Ham and West Ham fans. Not for Paqueta, maybe so, but Paqueta will know. Paqueta knows if he's innocent or if he's done something wrong. He knows. And if he's innocent, he'll know there is literally no evidence, so he will not get banned and he'll get cleared of any wrongdoing. Now, I believe Paqueta's lawyers or his agents regarding this are calm about it, that he will be cleared of any wrongdoing, and they're confident he will be, and that's why they were quite sure they could still get him a move to Manchester City in the summer transfer window. But it's an anxious wait for West Ham. But like I said, they'll do their own investigations and they'll have a rough idea. In regards to what's happened, I don't blame Betway in the slightest. I've seen some fans upset with Betway. They just did what they were obliged to do, really. I don't have an issue with it myself. I think they have to report that to the authorities, which they have done, and as a result Paqueta's been investigated, and if he's done nothing wrong, there's nothing to worry about. Like I said, I'm optimistic this actually might work in favour of West Ham long term, which is we fend Man City off in the summer transfer window. He doesn't miss a minute of football, and the club standing by Paqueta. David Moyes has stood by Lucas Paqueta because there's every chance Moyes would have known about this before the Bournemouth game. So before we played Bournemouth, we'd rejected a bid for Manchester City for Paqueta. There's a good chance Moyes would have known about this investigation into Lucas Paqueta. He stood by Paqueta, he's played him, he was brilliant against Bournemouth. Again, going into the Chelsea game, a lot going on off the field for Paqueta. Moyes has played him, and I thought he was superb against Chelsea. I thought commitment was fantastic. We've got an opportunity here to really sort of stand by Lucas Paqueta. We did it with Kurt Zouma. When Kurt Zouma did what he did with the cat, it doesn't make it right. I'm not saying that you have to agree with what Kurt Zouma did. I'm not trying to say that. What I'm saying is the club stood by Kurt Zouma. They fined him adequately. They punished Zouma how they felt was appropriate. But essentially they've stood by him, and he's captain now. And I believe he will be club captain. I think the only reason we haven't announced it is because if we do, there will be a media backlash. That people will kick off with West Ham. So you can't have that as your captain. He kicked the cat. That's what will happen. I think animal welfare charities, and rightly so, by the way, if they want to speak up, they can speak up. But I think if we formally announce Zuma as captain, they will then come out and have something to say about it. Henry Winter has something to say about it at the weekend about why is Zuma captain, not Ward Prowse, because of the cat incident. So the club can't really announce Zuma as a club captain. There'll be a lot of fans against it as well, and I understand why. You don't need to tell me why you don't agree with it. I get it. But West Ham stood by him, Moyes stood by him, and we've got this opportunity now with Lucas Paqueta where the club can stick by Lucas Paqueta. David Moyes is sticking by Lucas Paqueta, and that might just go a long way. It certainly comes across as the type of person that will go a long way with, and we've got this, I suppose, this opportunity, which is not in ideal circumstances, but to stand by Paqueta, help him with his legal battles or whatever, and get him through this. Now, as a gambler, and this is where I'm stressing it's only opinion based, it doesn't take much to swing the odds. I know what the allegations are saying, that there was a new account in Brazil opened and a large stake was placed, but a large stake is a few £1,000s. That's considered a large stake. If he's going to be doing, you'd like to think, if a player, first of all, he doesn't need the money, but second of all, if he was going to be doing bet fixing, you would do it for larger sums than a few £1,000s, wouldn't you? If you're going to do it properly. But also, it doesn't take much to swing the odds. The odds were shortened. He was odds on, which is really short odds for a player to get yellow carded in a game of football. But it doesn't take much for the market to swing. We've seen it, even if you're not into gambling, you've seen it with West Ham fans when, I say West Ham, you've seen it as a West Ham fan when, at the end of last season, when we were strongly linked to Rafa Benitez, the chat was Moyes was going to get sacked, Benitez was going to become manager. The market was suspended. You couldn't bet on Rafa Benitez to become the next West Ham manager because of the money being placed on him. So it doesn't necessarily take much for that to happen. And I'm quite calm about it. I just think the one thing that makes me a little bit nervous is the fact that it was Paqueta Island. But Paqueta picks up a lot of yellow cards. He picks up a lot of bookings. And he got one on Sunday for gobbing off at the linesman. Is that fixing? It's not fixing, though, is it? How's he to know that Raheem Sterling is going to hold his hand at that exact point where he can stop playing football and start arguing with the linesman and get a yellow card? His yellow card against Bournemouth. I appreciate this isn't the game in question, but I've seen the video. Oh, look, he's obviously guilty. Look, you got a booking in the last minute against Bournemouth when we're hanging on for the draw. Let's be real. This is where watching the game, you know this watching the game, people that didn't watch Bournemouth West Ham, and I don't blame them for not watching it, they won't know the context, which is we were defending, we were hanging on, not clinging on for the point, but we were happy with the point. So essentially, Paqueta is time wasted to protect the point that we've got. Also, more importantly, in the same clip doing the rounds, you can see the referee say to Paqueta, it's for consistent fouling. The referee clearly just goes, there's one there, there's one there, there's one here, this one, yellow card, you're getting booked for consistent fouling. How on God's green earth is Paqueta to know that the referee is going to book him on that occasion for consistent fouling? He doesn't know that. That's the referee's decision, not Paqueta. Out of those two, if anyone looks like they're fixing betting on bookings, it's the referee that's decided to book him in the last minute for consistent fouling, not Paqueta. I'm quite calm about this. It doesn't mean he's completely innocent, by the way. I think I'm quite calm in the sense that unless there's concrete evidence, which a text message, an email, whatever, concrete evidence that Paqueta did it on purpose knowing people were betting on him, it's very difficult to prove. Even if the phone call took place, you can prove the phone call took place. What you can't prove is the context of the phone call. So I'm quite comfortable that he will be cleared of any wrongdoing, and it might actually work in West Ham's favour. But that's just an opinion based on what's in the public domain currently. That is that. I hope to God he's cleared of any wrongdoing because we need him. Simple as that. He's a fantastic player. But if he is clear, if he hasn't done anything wrong, I just hope the club do everything they can to help him. And you just never know, that might just go a long, long way with him. And if Man City do come knocking next summer because he's now been cleared, hopefully Paqueta will turn around and say, no, actually, because my agents told you there's nothing to worry about. You decided not to take a punt on me. West Ham stuck by me. I'm not going to stick by them. Loyalty works both ways sometimes. So I'm quite calm. It's obviously a horrible allegation to have regarding one of your players. And like I said, it's an anxious way. But if Paqueta's innocent, he's not got anything anxious to be. He's got no reason to be anxious. He knows there's no evidence. He won't be found guilty. So a difficult one for West Ham. What did they do? Did they replace Paqueta in this window? Did they go get Mohamed Kudus with expectation Paqueta gets banned before the January transfer window? But that's where West Ham need to conduct their own investigations thoroughly and work out what they think is going to happen and act accordingly. Ironically, West Ham have got to gamble themselves on Lucas Paqueta. But anyway, that's my ramblings about it. But the fact is that the heaving has been postponed and he will not be leaving West Ham in the summer transfer window. I'm going to shut up and disappear. I'll catch you in a bit.